This week on Cooking with Snobs, we welcome one of Canada's favorite comics, Franco Taddeo. Join us as we talk comedy, political correctness, and yes, food.
That guy's polo.
That's what it is. Cheers.
Cheers.
Tom, what are we drinking?
This is a vodka gimlet.
Gimlet.
Yes.
From our guys at the
Madman.
Yes.
Steve, you want to talk about the vodka?
It'll be my pleasure.
Oh wait, but before he goes, what exactly is in a gimlet?
That's right.
It's lime juice,
Lime juice,
vodka,
vodka.
ice.
Okay.
What I did
Ice,
was,
by the way.
what I did was I put a little bit of bubbly water.
Yeah, yes, but the little
And
fizz.
you double the vodka.
Yeah. So
I feel it in my loins.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a cock for people in the East End. What's this guy loins? What's this guy?
And I really need to take a bite of this sandwich. I keep saying sandwich, but I'm not doing it on purpose because it looks like a sandwich. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, it looks like heaven. I don't know.
So what is it?
This in here we have a breaded eggplant. There's fried eggplant. There's sausage with fennel, white wine, and a little bit of hot pepper. There's a radicchio salad, and there's a mayonnaise made with feta and pepperoncino.
So you know that the Franco's vegan.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
First of all, it looks fantastic.
Oh wow!
You didn't even talk about the polenta fries.
Oh yes, and we have polenta French fries, which are honestly better than potato.
There's
fries.
some rosemary.
A little bit of thyme and butter.
This is
And
incredible.
cheese.
Yeah.
It's very, there's nice cake in here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah. This is gonna be us the whole time.
I don't know why we're supposed to talk.
Yeah. Wow.
This was the whole concept because it feels like you're just at a table. It's like it's like if you go to a bar, you get some food, and you're just talking.
What a bar?
What a bar.
But here there won't be any contract killings.
Yeah.
No, won't be any contract killings. I wonder how rowdy it gets in bars.
Well, we know. I mean, we're experienced.
You want to handle that, young man?
I'm good. But thank you for being here.
You know what? Thank you for having me. First of all, I'm salivating. I wish people could see how much. If only they had like flavor cans.
Oh, that would be fun.
I mean, yes or no?
No, yes and no. That's right. Because later we're going to be farting and you're like, thank God there's no smell-o-vision.
Also, I'm pretty sure there's some porn sets that don't smell nice.
There's that too, yeah. No kidding.
You don't think about it.
I don't think about it, but it's definitely there. How long have you done comedy?
I've been doing, I would say, 22 years.
Why?
Yeah. Well, my mom says 15. Why? Because it's, I don't know, it's all that I ever wanted to do. I mean, that and play professional hockey, but I'm 5'6" and 180 pounds. And,
Didn't work out.
yeah. And hair on my back, you can't do shit that in the shower. So, like, how did this guy make the NHL? He's a monk. Anyhow. Why? I could ask you the same thing. Like, why do you do comedy? Why do you cook? Why do you keep us waiting trying to sell houses? Why? Why? It's a calling, I think, right?
It was just like a... So
I actually have a good answer to it.
yeah. Thank you. I hope that was better than what you just
No,
said.
that's why it's a calling. I don't know. Do you know Jess Solomon?
Yeah.
Jess Solomon is a wonderful comic.
Your wife is a man, right?
Right? No, her wife is a woman.
Yeah.
Because her name is Iman. Get it? All right. Anyhow.
Anyways.
And Jess Solomon used to be a war crimes prosecuting lawyer.
I know that.
Shit.
You know, I mean,
it's true. Yes,
we
it's
all know what happened in the former Yugoslavia.
Steve knows.
Jess Solomon was, along with George Clooney's wife, Amal.
Amal.
She was on the same Amal. Yeah. She was on the same defense team that prosecuted some of the war criminals. You're doing such goodness in the world that you can imagine, and she's like, I need to be a comedian, right? Like, in comparison to that, me flunking out in Concordia was nothing to my need to be a comedian. But it's a calling. It's a calling. Perhaps not as with as much merit as Jess Solomon, but I think is people that we know were asking for a life of like bad relationships, other than today, horrible food on the road, and not making a lot of money, but it's all we're called to do. I wish I was called to be a stockbroker.
Imagine who has to call you in order to become a war crimes prosecutor.
That's nuts.
Yeah, you want to make the world better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, you want to tell dick jokes. But I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a calling.
In our
Like,
own way.
But like, why do you want to do, like, I know, I don't know him incredibly well, but I know you have other avenues that could provide you perhaps a much more fruitful
and stable
existence, but you're doing this,
Yeah.
throwing yourself full throttle into it.
Yeah.
Why?
And I love it.
Yeah, because you love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me happy.
What do you get a wife and she says, yeah, you love it, but you're a loser. That's
Yeah.
much I think.
I pay the bills.
Yeah, I pay the bill.
I find, don't you get a rush?
Oh, the adrenaline is insane.
It's a drug.
It's
a drug.
literally a drug.
Yeah.
Especially,
That's why I
you know, doing a stage like the CLDV, for example, like getting that applause and that thing, like, there's nothing like, you get that laugh back, it's just finished. It's done. You know what I mean? Like, you get a laugh, and
The first one.
the first one that I ever did, I never done comedy in my life. It was a dare.
Why? Yeah, why?
I don't know, because I was putting on the first CLDV ever in October of 2018.
You were putting it on without thinking of performing?
No, well, I wanted to produce it, and I was going to get a host, but then Reginald Saint-Éloi and Emile Coury were like, hey, you want us to come do your show, but we'll do it only if you host.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know what to do. I wrote a set that I was like, I'm going to bomb. I didn't bomb. And then ever since then, I was like, fuck it. I'll do it. I don't think I'm a better producer than I am a comic, but I love the spotlight.
Well, you haven't been doing either for a long enough time to say what eventually what you'll be good at.
That's fair.
But
I think, what I feel,
I think we
know?
can agree he loves the spotlight. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
When you see him,
I love the spotlight. I love the rush that I
I'm
get.
gonna blame this on your dad, Nick, who probably didn't give you enough attention.
Maybe.
He was busy selling houses, and he's like, now he's like, I need a spotlight that my dad never afforded me. But Dad, can you fund me getting the spotlight?
Yeah. That's how it works here.
It's payback.
Yeah, exactly.
You should have given me hugs. Now you're giving me money.
it's the same thing for like me wanting to start catering.
Yeah.
And start cooking, like even privately at homes and all that. You know, think of when you're at a wedding. When you're at a wedding and you're eating the food and all that, you don't hear anybody at your table. Fucking veal. That's like.
Go on.
It's like a dart in the heart.
Yeah.
It's
like when we see bad comedy. You know?
Yeah.
Like you have to be crazy to do anything where you can be criticized.
But what I find in terms of you is it's much more selfless what you do. This is ego driven. But you,
Definitely.
I mean, obviously,
you want to make people laugh too.
obviously, we're artists. I mean, I don't know. Chefs for sure are artists. I think we are, but some people are like, no, you're not artists. You know. But you don't get that instantaneous feedback that we get, right? Your art.
Just watching the people.
But they enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you get what you deserve, and people saying thank you. You know, us, we get it all the time. You know, it's much more self-absorbing what we do. You know, we're basically narcissists.
Yes. 100%.
But when it goes bad, it goes bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That's the other.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword because you see when it's going good, but when it's you also have to deal with the instant
Rejection.
yeah.
You know what I don't know?
But look at us.
Yeah.
We've lived through a lot of rejections,
100%. Yes.
especially on dates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretty lucky. But anyways.
Well,
Your wife's a good-looking woman.
yeah,
I mean, why the
she's
fuck
a
is she
very
with you?
good-looking woman, very bad eyesight. That's what happened. Combination. And they never underestimate pity.
Yeah. And she gave you a son.
Why are you with him? I feel sorry.
Yeah. But I don't know this part about your life, and it's that first time you stepped on stage. I know nothing about it. Walk us through that.
So
It's in Ottawa.
It's interesting that there's food involved. The first time I went to do stand-up was at an open mic.
Yeah.
And the open mics are all over North America. There are comedy clubs that have them. Mine was at the Comedy Works, which unfortunately is no longer open. It used to be on Bishop. and I couldn't eat for 2 days.
Who ran that? Who ran that at the time?
The owner was
wasn't Ernie.
Jim. It was Jimbo.
Okay.
Jimbo was the owner, and
Yeah.
Ernie had the Comedy Nest.
Right.
And I couldn't eat for 2 days
Okay.
because I was that nervous, right? And the Comedy Works used to be upstairs on the second floor of a pub called Jimbo's Pub, named after him. You know, we're all vain people in show business. And I walked up, and there was a gentleman. He was eating. He had 2 hot dogs and fries, like 10 minutes before showtime. And I'm like, this guy is my hero. Because I haven't been able to eat for 2 days. I'm so nervous. This guy, 10 minutes before we go on, he's eating. I don't remember the guy. He probably doesn't do comedy anymore. But that's how nervous I was. And he was my gauge. I'm like, one day I want to be like so cool that I can eat 2 hot dogs and a fry
And go on.
10 minutes before.
Yeah.
And you know what? 22 years later, I never eat before a show. Because one, you want to be agile. You know, just to be quick-witted, and 2, if it goes bad, you want to be able to run away. So
Also, like, what happens if the stomach starts going?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I don't eat before shows.
yeah, after the show, we're stuck.
I have a few drinks and whatever. Like, for example, the last show that we did, I ate a piece of pizza, and halfway through the show, my stomach started to. And I was like, seriously? And I literally was like, I am not going to shit now. I stood in the bathroom stall. I was like, and I was standing. I was like, I'm not shitting. I didn't shit. The moral of the story is I didn't shit.
Why?
Why?
Because I was putting on a show. You know, like what if something went wrong? Where's Johnny? He's in the bathroom.
You know what, guys? There's this infamous story of a Canadian comic who might still be doing comedy. They were doing a corporate fundraiser. It was in the summer, outdoors, and there was a buffet. This was before, obviously, pre-COVID, when we could have buffets.
Yeah.
And you know, it was in the Greater Toronto area, like cottage country in Toronto, and the food is, you know, very Canadian. You know, potato salad, macaroni salad. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's the summer.
A lot of mayo.
There's not only is there no sneeze guard, there's no sun guard.
Yeah.
This gentleman, because most comics. Present company, we're more to the fam. You know, we don't make that much money. They're like free
the
food.
MDFs.
He loaded up.
Oh, God.
He was on stage and he defecated while he was on stage. But here's the thing, he never got off. Everybody knew, including the audience, and he continued with his set. And then he was emceeing. Yes, he was emceeing. He brought on the first act.
He was emceeing.
He was emceeing, which means he had to come back. And nobody brings an extra pair of pants to do comedy.
Oh,
you know?
no.
Yeah.
Yes. So apparently I was not there, but the story is legendary. He went to the bathroom, cleansed himself as best he could. I don't know why we're talking about it's your fault over this wonderful food.
No problem.
And went back on stage, okay? And perhaps you could not see what he had done, but people smelled what he had done. Yeah. It's a famous story. This gentleman is probably in his 60s now. He might still do comedy. Does nothing but, corporate shows now. But yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a good thing that you held off the.
Not
Number
today.
Not today. Yeah, but also that's.
How do you go on?
That takes a real job. That takes a real fucking
You know what?
job.
Trying to continue selling a house like that.
Comedy is about truth. It's a mistake to do that. You tell the audience, look, I'm really sorry. This is what happened. The rest of the people are going to continue the show. They'll respect you. But to do what he did, to continue the show
fucking legendary.
with stains, smells,
And
we're
then-
talking about it now.
Macaroni
Huh?
salad.
Probably 20 years ago, we're talking about it now.
It's so funny that you mentioned a shit story. We're gonna stop talking about shit after
Call
this.
it, just say number two.
Number
or
2, sorry, but the last time when you were on Snobcast with us,
Yes.
we spoke about a dog.
The goat.
The goat on stage.
The goat with Sugar
Yeah,
Sammy.
with Sugar Sammy.
Oh my
So
God.
it just this,
I couldn't
it all comes
remember.
full circle, everyone. It all comes full circle. I mean, that was a bite. Jesus Christ.
Did I mention that they asked me to clean it up after the...
Yes, you did.
No.
They're like, you're emceeing, the goat just defecated, clean it up, continue the show. I'm like, my mom will be so proud.
So going back to your origin.
Yeah.
So you don't eat for 2 days. You go to the
Go on
bus.
stage, it was,
What was your base of your jokes?
you know what, I was on stage 5 minutes, I told 3 jokes.
Okay.
I'm like, I need to stop using less words, more jokes. But it wasn't horrible, but it was just enough. It was that fix. I'm like, I need more, you know? And, and it was different when I was doing comedy. When I started doing comedy, we're lucky now, in general, especially new comics, there's so many rooms to practice your craft. When I started doing comedy, there was 2 clubs, comedy, and there were no independent rooms.
Yeah.
And you were lucky if you, like,
It didn't happen anywhere.
no, you were lucky. Like the first year I did comedy, I performed maybe 3 times, right? So I say 22 years, but it's probably 19 years where I could actually do comedy, you know?
Like straight, you know?
Yeah.
And what were you doing before that?
What was I doing?
Yeah, were you...
Failing at a marriage.
Okay. It's honest.
But you know what was great about it is, in terms of you, when I started doing comedy, many of us, I don't know if it's the same with you or you, when we have these like momentous like life changes. Like I said, I was failing at a marriage. I got divorced. I had 2 kids, and I'm like, what do I really want to do in life?
Yeah,
And I'm like, this, because you know, it's every person,
That happened
especially
recently. Yeah.
for real, children of ethnic, you know, our parents made so many sacrifices, or our grandparents, to come here to give us an easier life. And they're like, be successful, be an accountant, be a lawyer, be a doctor. They don't want us to be a struggling artist, right? So I tried to do that. I got a university degree, I got married, and it wasn't who I wanted to be. And probably it wasn't fair to, I'm sorry, Liat, I'm really sorry. But, so then I got divorced, and I'm like, this is what I want to do, I want to try. So I needed to have a job where I could take care of my sons, because they didn't ask for their dad to be like a struggling artist.
Right.
So in the days I would do that so I could pay bills, and at night when I didn't have my boys, I would try to be a comic, you know. And it took like, and my wife will tell you, I've been doing it, let's say 22 years. I've only been making money the last 5 or 6 years. You know?
Really?
Yeah, Canadian comedy is
Canadian comedy is
it's a really fun way to not make a lot of money.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Which I think is kind of crazy considering, I mean, this is like the birthplace of like JFL and all that.
Yeah.
You would think that would engage a kind of more local reaction, not reaction, but
I think, you know, but from my experience, in Montreal, obviously, it's mostly French, right? But
which also came later, by the way. The comic club in French.
yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't always around.
Because their formula is totally different than ours, and their formula is much more lucrative than the English ones, because they have a star system, which in English Canada we don't.
Yeah.
It's like become successful and go to the United States, and then become a star, and then come back home and make money.
Yeah.
But a lot of us don't become successful enough to go to the States,
Right.
so you're eking out a living. But where were we? Oh yeah, you doing Kafka? No. No, what was? Comics.
Yeah.
So maybe like in Toronto, because it is the mecca, ververpa of everything, including comedy now. There may be 8 to 15 times as many comics, but for my money, based on experience, having been in other cities, the top 20, 25 comics in Montreal are as good as the top 25 comics in Toronto. What we don't have is the volume,
Right.
but we have quality. So, you know, and just for laughs, my experience is Montreal audiences are the most refined. Why? Because as you said,
We understand.
they've been exposed to the best comics in the world for 35 years.
Yeah.
It's much harder, it's much easier to make somebody in Toronto or Regina, or let's not even talk about the United States, laugh than it is someone from Montreal, because our palate is much more refined. Just like with food, the same thing with humor, because we're exposed to the best.
yeah.
And you've done the circuit, like Canadian tour.
Yeah,
Have
I
you done US or?
yeah, so I've done I've done US, mostly the Eastern Seaboard, and
Okay.
it's interesting why I did the US is because I don't know if you guys know, but Joe Avati.
Of course, I've actually spoken to him.
Yeah,
interviewed
so
him, yeah.
I did the second tour, his second Canadian tour. Like we did 18 cities, and I didn't even know there were 18 cities in Canada, to be fair. You know, and 18 cities with a sizable enough population for him to charge $60 a ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but we also did the United.
Where did he go?
So
Toronto,
Well, yeah, 2. You got Montreal, Toronto.
yeah, Hamilton, Vancouver, Kamloops. Did you know Kamloops in the interior of British Columbia is 80,000 people? It's 10% Italian. If you know sports, Mark Recchi is from there. So, and I remember going, they own every restaurant and hotel in the town. They're like, bro, you need anything, you come see us. And it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. But yes, Winnipeg. There's a little Italy in Winnipeg. all of Southern Ontario, there's not one town where London, St. Catharines, Niagara Falls,
Okay.
18 cities. I mean,
Wild.
you guys might be too young, but in Montreal at the Da Vinci Center, he did 27 shows.
Yeah. No, I was
Sold out. 27 shows. I know because we did like 2 shows on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That guy bought a vineyard with
It's
how
not-
much people enjoyed him. But what he did, to his credit, is he made himself a star. He didn't
Yeah.
wait for the business to make him a star.
Yeah.
Sugar Sammy, same thing.
Yeah.
He didn't wait for a promoter or a festival. He's like, I'm gonna take, and that's the best way.
Yeah.
The other example like that would be I'm familiar with Andrew Schultz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, because of what he does, mainstream things wouldn't. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm gonna make myself.
He got that small Netflix deal, and then he's been at JFL a few times. But the guy produces his own shows, his own podcast. He's not tied to anything,
Yeah.
Like,
He's
and he's selling out everywhere. He's,
he's hot shit now.
very, very much.
I always say on
And
a
a super nice guy. Steve and I interviewed him. Like,
Yeah.
super nice
Oh,
guy.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, super nice guy.
on a much smaller level, and this is something that the more he does it, the more
Keep
he'll
touching it
get.
like that. Yeah.
Well, there is porn after. So
Yeah.
Oh yes.
is when people ask me, like, Franco, can you? Because I mean, as much as I do comedy, I produce it as well. And if they're like, Franco, we want a comedy show, I know there's a certain amount of money I could ask for. But when they say, Franco, we want you, then I could ask for more because they want
You.
the product as opposed to the entity, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, whether it's Sugar Sammy or Joe Avati or Andrew Schultz, when you make yourself the thing they want, then you have some power.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a fair point. And
That's what we have. That's what we have to do.
yeah,
So if you want me to cook next week,
yeah.
Brought to you by. No, but seriously, you have to brand yourself. It sucks, but it's true,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I mean, so you do that whole thing with Joe Avati, and then
I put down a mortgage on a house with that money. Then
yeah, because he bought a vineyard and you.
I put like a down payment.
Yeah. When did the
that's insane.
this is a touchy question,
Yeah.
but when did that PC culture start to,
I don't
turn
know.
around where everyone's sensitive?
Does that affect also how?
Of course, it affects
Well,
what
it
you do.
affects- yeah.
You know what? I have to say that ideally, as artists, you wanna, and I know it's a cliche, you wanna, like, what's the line? You wanna comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. So that's always my perspective. So I'm not gonna make fun of someone in a wheelchair unless they're in a wheelchair and they're assholes. Then my focus is gonna be the asshole, right? The asshole, not the wheelchair, you know. And even I can remember like 15 years ago, you'd be on stage and somebody would say something and you'd be like, bro, that's so gay, and people would laugh.
Yeah.
You can't say that anymore. But if you're being a comic is dependent on you saying, bro, that's so gay, maybe you should reassess what kind of comic you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be more careful. And sometimes it does suck. Like, I don't know how much you want to get into the weeds of it, but during the pandemic, comics, most of us were stuck doing Zoom shows, online shows. They
Which, by the way, were fucking probably shit.
They were horrible,
Yeah.
but it's all we could do and it's all they could get, so people were appreciative of the effort. I do this bit, and I was doing a corporate show for a software company in Canada, so obviously we know the kind of people that are drawn to that job. They're younger, they tend to be more politically correct, they tend to be more, which I'm not judging, right? So I do this bit about, and it has to do with real estate agents, how
Don't get offended now.
how ethnic people, we try to anglicize or francisize our names so we seem less threatening, right? Pietro becomes Pierre or Giovanna becomes John, right? And so it was talking about, and I'm obviously, people can tell by my nose and my accent, I'm not English or French Canadian, right? I'm talking about us. The people complained to HR that I was saying that ethnic people were a threat to the host culture. And I'm like, guys, you didn't get the gist of the joke. I'm saying that sometimes we might be perceived, but I'm like, how would I be saying that I'm a threat, right? So it was ludicrous that I would have to defend the artistic merit of that joke. And I'm like, shit, it's gone too far. So I understand. You can't call someone like obviously the N word or the C word or whatever, but when you're putting your judgment on what is my art and misreading it, I'm saying that it sucks that you perceive us as a threat. I'm not saying that we're a threat, right? And the person from HR is like, you know what? I totally understand. I was there at the performance. I got it, but they felt I needed to address it with you, and I'm addressing because she has a job to do, right?
Wow.
So yeah.
Does that affect like, oh, we're not gonna pay you?
Well, I never do stuff that no, but I've never. And also, I don't. My MO is not like attacking people, so it's never happened. But yeah, maybe I was scared that they were not gonna pay me, but I knew that I was on a what's the, like an editorial strong ground, because my joke is not saying immigrants are a threat. Why would I be saying I'm a threat? I'm not gonna get paid. You know. So sometimes it's frustrating.
I don't even know what I would do in that situation. Somebody tells me that.
Well, deep down inside, I was really pissed, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, that's a good question, and I don't make tons of. I wanted to get paid, so I needed to
Especially
explain.
times like that, you
Yeah, of course. I mean, during COVID, we
right?
lost 80% of our income, and I'm like, this is. And she knew that it was ridiculous, but her boss was like, you need to address it with him because I have employees and they're not happy, right? So I had to, make it like work.
Wow.
And just picture that people are going to like HR to be like, oh,
Hey,
I didn't
the
like
Zoom show is shit.
you guys, but
Yeah.
What this guy said hurt me, but it happens. But the thing is that like,
Yeah.
okay, come on. No, but there's some stuff. Because then you're gonna turn on Netflix and you're gonna digest whatever's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see you're not gonna watch all new stuff that's all PC friendly. Once in a while, you're gonna go on an older show and you're gonna see some, and it's gonna make you laugh.
I mean, it's like for those who have Disney Plus, like the whatever movies are not PC, they put that warning before now.
Really?
Yeah, Peter Pan or like.
What's not PC about it? Because a man with a bunch of boys.
It's very Michael Jackson-esque.
There's that, but there's also like the whole thing with the natives, like the indigenous people in the
What are they
movies.
doing?
Well, like they're not portrayed. They're portrayed as like jokes or whatever.
Why are you grilling him now?
Why are you
He's not the guy that decided.
What if the Aboriginals want to become comedians?
Okay. Look.
I think you're just keeping people down.
Talk to Disney.
Wow.
You want to walk up?
You know what? Tom? It's a pendulum, right? Before it was too much, where you could make fun of anybody.
Yeah.
Hey, you N word. Hey, you F word.
Well, even us as Italians, we get shot on.
Yeah, but we deserve it. We deserve it.
Everybody's in the mob. It bothers me. It kind of bothers me that everybody's in the mob. You're gonna break my legs. Yeah, if you're talking like an idiot. not because like any other reason, just because like any normal person wouldn't want you to like, and then you can't look at the French people. Look at that whole thing with the
don't get him started.
Oh no, we can't talk about anything current. But it's
don't
always
get started.
so split. It's always so split just on that.
You know what's terrible?
Just
is
learn
that
fucking English.
Well, here's the thing. A couple of things on that, just quickly. Most of us, we all get along.
Yeah.
Especially us, immigrants, children of immigrants, grandchildren of immigrants. We all speak 3 and 4 languages. And it's not our fault that English is the international language. We didn't decide that, So, like, a couple years ago, I'm in Sicily on a beach. There's a guy from Portugal trying to pick up a Japanese girl. He's speaking English to her, and she's answering in English. We didn't make that rule. They're in Italy, Portugal, Japanese. They speak English.
Exactly.
We didn't do that,
And look at what happens when you try to do it different. Like the French comedians. Mm-hmm. It works because they have their
culture,
audience.
Yeah.
Of
the followers.
They're lucky because there's that buffer of language, right?
Yeah. Because what if all of Canada was bilingual?
Yeah.
Now you got a larger audience and you got more people from.
But you know what?
You got to stand out more.
With 6 million people, they make more money than English comics because they have the buffer of language.
Yeah.
So the best. Let's say you're the best French-speaking comic in Quebec, you're competing with 300 other comics. Yeah. Let's say you're the best speaking comic in Montreal, you're competing with 3 million other comics all over North America.
Yeah.
So, and people in Latsuk, people in Sept-Îles, they're gonna pay $50 to see a comic in French because it's their language. It's the only option they have. Yeah. You can come see Gianni and I, or you can wait and come see Sebastian Maniscalco, right?
Yeah.
But in Let's Cook, you don't have a choice. You
Yeah.
gotta see the French guys.
I
And
don't think
because of
Sebastian
this,
would kill over there.
Qu'est-ce qu'il dit, Chris? Ouais, répète ça en français, Chris.
La Touk.
But it's also like what happens. Even okay, put it this way, like when we saw David Pride do his French show.
Who's fucking brilliant.
I've heard that he. Well, first of all, he's brilliant in English.
Yeah, but he
it must be
literally
so
just
funny.
translates his set to
His French
with an
material
accent.
is absolute dynamite.
Bonsoir, je m'appelle David. That's what he does, and I'm just like, keep doing that.
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious.
But the accent is funny.
Yes.
Accents make you get away with anything.
Yes,
You know?
Yeah,
And he's already like neurotic and
Yeah.
You know, like,
even when you hear like Reg, when
Yeah.
Reg does something in English,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it's that accent,
it's
right?
the accent.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're trying.
Yeah, it's like one of the more popular comics in Montreal, Derek Seguin.
Yeah. He
His
started in French?
no in English.
Okay.
His material is a little blue, but you're like, oh my god, it's so cute with that accent.
Yeah.
You know, like, you
Yeah,
can
we'll
say
talk
anything.
about like jerking off or
Yeah,
whatever.
or
And it's hilarious because I got you. Lord.
oh my god, I love when he speaks like that.
Yeah, you know?
So accents make anything
Yeah.
more passable. They're kind of like the granita of comedy, right? le trou normand, right?
The Grenada of comedy.
Have you ever done what you're
That sounds like a great name for a special.
The granita of comedy. I'm gonna take another bite of this delicious sandwich.
I'll make you do that and I'll ask you your next question.
Oh my god, the sandwich first of all.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait
I don't
for a
understand
second.
how I ate everything.
I don't know. I'm gonna wait a second.
I
We have something against ridicule.
No, it's
Yeah.
it's got
Fell out,
sloppy at a
you know.
point.
This is a blue area.
Have you done
French
French
comedy?
comedy?
Yeah, I've done French comedy. I started to do French comedy because people would always tell me, you know, Franco, tu restes ici, tu parles français, tu
And you
devrais
speak
le faire.
French well.
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, how you want to pick up the girls if you can't speak their language?
Exactly.
But language, I mean, comedy, your toolkit is language, right? You play with it, it's malleable. And I speak it well enough, but I wasn't sure I was comfortable enough to do it, to like own a stage.
Yeah.
Normally, one of the things I do is own a stage. Not that time when we had the 17 grapples in my system,
Yeah. Oh, you know well.
Yeah, you did.
but then I got hired by Luigi Morabito to
Right.
be the what am I? Director of programming, directeur de programmation for Festival Laval Festival Laval Laughs. So I'm like, if I'm gonna book comics, I need to be in that milieu. So I started doing French comedy. I don't do a lot because before the pandemic, I was lucky enough to make a good enough living, not to have to. I don't mean that in a bad way.
No,
but not to have to do
you're-
French,
yeah.
right? I would do the rest of Canada. I would do the States occasion. I would do corporate shows, and I would do Montreal shows. So, but then when I'm like, I can't try to book them without understanding their environment.
Right.
And I've done French shows. I mean, not since the pandemic. And it's true what they say about French audiences. They're incredibly gracious. They're
Yeah.
the most. There is a joie de vivre in French culture that emanates to their artists. They love their artists, and it is a joy. I don't mean this in a net. They're easy to make laugh. You know, I wish I was as good in French as I am in English. Not that I'm incredible in English, but I'm better in English than I am in French. And I think I would be able to pay off that house really fast because of the star system in French.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And it's something I don't even know if we should say this or if the director of the festival would appreciate it. Something you and I have discussed. When I'm booking galas for the festival, I'm paying French comics because it's a captive market, because of the built-in expectation, because they have agents and promoters and publicity people, and everybody needs to eat. We know that as Italians, right?
Yeah.
I'm paying them 5 to 15 times more what I'm paying comparable talent in English. It's not fair, but the world is not fair, and entertainment is one of the least fair things there are.
Yeah. No, that's no.
Right?
That's,
Because the option is if you say no to me, if you're an English comic, I'll get another one, I'll go get someone in Toronto, I'll get someone in Vancouver, I'll get someone in New York, I'll get someone in Boston. But if you say no to me and you're the French guy, where am I going to go? This is the only place I can get comics.
No, that's
So they know.
France and fly somebody.
Yeah, but France, comedy in France are not as good as the comics
it's also
here.
totally different. Yeah.
The best French comics in the world are from Quebec. There's a reason why they're doing festivals in Algeria, in Morocco, in France, in Belgium, in Switzerland, because they have grew up watching American comics, so they know how to do comedy.
They
In the rest of the French world, it's more character driven, and that's a bit, to use a bit more quétaine. Sure, it's going to make grandmama or the 8-year-old laugh, but an educated or aware audience won't love that. So every French-speaking country in the world, Haiti, they bring comics from Quebec. It's telling you, do French. You know, there's nothing like the reward of doing comedy in the language you're most comfortable. But if you want to make a good living and you live here, you should also do French. And I tell young comics that all the time. You know,
Just test it out, though.
Yeah.
You're gonna do a set in
Maybe.
French.
It's not the first time I've been
Honestly,
told to do it.
the pre-recordings kill me every time.
Oh, when I do
The pre-recordings
intros,
kill me
at the
every
shows, 'cause I
single
do the
time.
bilingual, and I always like throw French under the bus.
It's so good. Ne lichez pas les sièges.
Ne léchez pas les sièges, n'embrassez pas votre sœur. I always do shit. I always say shit like that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love that. We're talking about American comics. I don't know if this is correct, but are you a big Richard Jeni fan?
Yeah, I'm a big
Okay.
Richard Jeni.
So
So late Richard Jeni.
Yes, of course. Richard Jeni was the guy
I
that
know
was,
he's never on time.
that was in The Mask, Jim Carrey's friend
He's an Italian-American comic from Boston.
at the bank. Coco Bongo Club. Frankie's like, yes.
Wait. Oh.
Yeah. He jumps in at the end to get the mask with the dog.
Yes.
With
Yes.
Milo,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, he's a brilliant comic.
Was, yeah.
Yeah, was.
But the
Sorry,
thing is,
Sorry, I never.
but see, that's the thing. Before you ask me the question, I think most comics, and I probably include the both of us, we're probably like psychologically maladjusted,
Yes.
right? If you're not familiar with Richard Jeni was one of the top grossing comics.
HBO specials.
When he took his own life.
Yeah.
And the reason he took his own life was because he couldn't get a sitcom deal with one of the major networks. So he's like, I'm a failure. This guy was easily making, easily 7 figures a year, but he couldn't get a sitcom deal that Seinfeld got, that what's the guy, Home Improvement got, all these guys, and he's like, why? I'm not good enough, I need to end my life. Sometimes I think we look for the sadness instead of enjoying the gladness that your life should afford. See, I told you, I have a university degree. It's very philosophical. But you know what I mean? He took his life, even though the year that he killed himself, he was the top grossing touring comic in America. That's the madness and the sadness of making people laugh.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean.
No, the question was, you would probably rank him as one of your top influences as a comic. What did you grow up watching?
The reason he was my influence is because, again, I see myself in him. He was short, he wasn't good looking, you know, because you need humility, right?
Yeah.
And he was a storyteller.
He was a great storyteller.
Yeah, and to me, that's what when I do a show, I want the audience to come with me, right?
Yeah.
And if they come.
Not everybody.
Not everybody. But if they come with me, then I can take them places that they might not willingly go if they had accepted to come with me. If they had not accepted to come with me. And that's why I looked up to him. It wasn't necessarily, but the way he put forth what he did and who he was, you know, that's I identify with. You know, like I don't identify with the brilliance of George Carlin, you know, because I'm not that brilliant and I'm not that angry.
Oh, by the way, what a great turnaround was Mr. Conductor in Thomas the Tank Engine.
That was
George Carlin.
Shiny Time Station.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
Was
He
it
was the-
that
he
or was
played-
it Shiny Time
No,
Station?
it was Thomas the Engine Tank. He was a little conductor.
The Engine
guy.
Tank.
The Engine Tank.
Are we confusing someone right now?
Wait,
No,
George
George
Carlin,
Carlin,
the comic?
Yeah,
Yes.
he was in one of those
He
shows.
played
like a
Mr.
kid's show,
Conductor.
yeah.
It was the most
No, that's Mr. Conductor's Shiny Time Station.
Whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
He was a conductor guy. He would, hi, what's going on? And then you see him on stage.
Yeah.
He's like blowjobs,
Angry.
abortion.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Or you know what? So
Wow.
that's it. Like that's why. Look, did I spin it?
No. I think I have like dust from the bread on my shoulder.
So like what I'm saying, and it's sticky dust.
what's the polenta?
So like Richard Jeni I identify, but like I'm not angry and brilliant like George Carlin. I'm not brilliant like Mitch Hedberg, right?
Mitch
These
Hedberg.
are- exactly, brilliant, right? So I would never say
He'll always send me something like my DM and be like, "Who watched this?" You know,
brilliant again, brilliant. Heroin addiction.
Yeah.
Dead because he felt empty because he had like people that worshipped him, but not mainstream. And he's like, I need to fill.
And now he's fucking huge. You know what I mean? Like,
But that's what happened.
Always happened.
That joke that why escalators are so genius is that even when they're broken, they're stairs.
Sorry for the convenience. Sorry for the convenience.
You know, it's even you look at people like Bill Hicks, for example. You know, like who's just another great story. Like the guy literally sat on a chair, on a stool, and for 90 minutes. You probably didn't laugh for like 90 minutes, but at the end of that special,
You're like, that was brilliant.
You're like, great. Yeah, that's it.
Another guy that died young, but that he didn't take. I mean, that was illness.
Yeah. But so yeah.
I mean, he's no Ralphie May, but I mean,
Ralphie May. Steve and I saw him at the Nasty Show.
Yeah.
Like, just he was already larger than life in general, but like a brilliant.
That's what I mean.
Like,
Ralphie May could capture a stage.
We're talking about dead people now. Did you realize that?
That's a good theme.
You know what? They may have made more money than us.
Yeah.
They may be more successful. We're still alive. In your face.
Up your ass.
What? So, but growing up, like you have a big family, right?
No? I'm an only child.
Oh, you're only child. That's why you're fun.
Congratulations.
Oh my god.
Well,
It's great. I like it. I enjoy it. I'm okay with it.
But so did you grow up watching TV or like sitcoms or?
yeah, but
Dude, I don't want to talk about this plate.
Lots of masturbation.
Yeah, look.
I talk about this on stage. When I was in high school, I remember watching like PBS. It was one of the only places. It was before the internet that you could watch comedy. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And this guy does this joke where he goes, women are looking for Mr. Right. And men are looking for Mrs. Right now. And people laughed.
Yeah.
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like in Sec 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm like, you could do that? Yeah. You could do that? And people laugh. I'm like, I want to do that, And like...
And that was pretty late. Like you said that before, you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Some people they're watching, like Mary Tyler Moore Show or like Carol Burnett and just like, oh, I'm a child.
Yeah.
What year were you born in?
1966.
Okay, so like you're a child of the 70s essentially, like child of the
80s. Child of the 80s, that's right.
But
I grew up with like, I'm trying to think, like Three's Company.
like John Ritter,
Like MASH.
Yeah.
Like MASH had a big influence. Cocaine.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like and then like someone who was like John Ritter, for example.
Yeah.
Like very physical comedy.
Or do you guys remember Robin Williams was on the show called Mork and Mindy. It was Mork from Mork.
Yeah, Mork from Mork. Yeah.
That was a great show.
Yeah. With Pam Dauber.
And how she doing? She was nothing. No?
Cosby Show too. When wasn't that?
Yeah.
That was late 80s. Let's run down everything. Top 20.
Listen. Just don't go the Bill Cosby route and you'll be fine.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough, right? You have to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
The guy was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And the thing I don't understand, okay?
In a way, which one was really the art? Because one of them, he kept it going
Yeah,
a lot longer than you thought.
And
That's
some of his bits referenced it, right? That he was doing that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I don't understand, okay? And I'll use myself as an example. Again, I'll mention, I'm not the best looking guy, whatever. My wife is amazing. She's a beautiful woman. Every artist I know does way better in terms of looks. This guy was super famous. He didn't need to drug women in order to get women. That's like a sickness that he had.
Yeah.
Because most of us hit beyond our batting ability, whatever, not to mix metaphors. So why do you do that? You're super famous, you'll get chicks. If I'm getting chicks, not anymore, honey. But you're on TV. You're like you remember he had there was a cartoon thing where the Fat Albert. You know what I mean?
And kids say darndest things.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, you're super famous. Yeah. You're sick, man.
I'd actually seen him. I saw him live once.
Really?
Yeah.
Doing comedy or trying to like drug the girl?
Doing the girl.
Stand up. Well,
how was he?
For me, like I was maybe like 13 or 14.
So he didn't speak to you?
No, it did because so it was older, obviously, and at the time when he was doing stand up, I saw Class Cesar. It was during JFL, and he was old, so he would sit on the chair for the whole hour and a half. You know what I mean? But it's just for him, it was everything is facial expression. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember him doing a bit about going to the dentist. where I literally was like, this is me, and I'm 13 years old, and I was like, I was pissing my pants. My sister was next to me, and like, she was like, holy shit, I've never seen you laugh like that. You know
That's
what I mean?
amazing.
It's just a weird thing, and it's just, you know, I mean, like, I still
think it's disgusting because you're laughing at Bill Cosby.
Yeah, but he didn't know.
Man, I didn't know that. That backstage
That's
classes are he was raping
You should
girls.
have done your
You know what I mean?
research before going to
He was 13.
I was 13. I was like, this dude, I don't like the dentist. Neither does Bill Cosby.
He's my hero. He's my hero.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just a weird thing. And for me, growing up was more like I watched a lot of Robin Williams and I watched a lot of Jim Carrey.
Oh my god, they were like, they were the kings in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like,
So your Eddie Murphy was.
No, so here's my relationship with Eddie Murphy is that at 7 years old, I when video rental shops were still a thing, I go. There's one at Jean Talon at Provencher.
you take the phone thing and you bring it to the front.
Yeah, the token,
the little token, and you get there and you hope that they didn't fuck up. And
Yeah.
that they actually have that in stock.
Yeah. So I go and I would always, my dad and I would go Friday nights, and that's how I became a huge movie buff. My mom, my dad, you know, and we would go Friday nights.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but I really miss your movie reviews.
Thank you.
I'm serious. A lot of times I used to base what we used to watch based on your
I
reviews.
started doing small things like in my stories now.
Okay.
Just to be like, oh, go see this type.
Please don't let that go.
But thank you, I appreciate it.
I've just been watching.
No, I'm being selfish.
No, you're not the first person to
But
say
he does a great review.
There's a great review. He's honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I identify with his taste. So maybe if I'm like, I don't like what he likes, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
He's
you
also
didn't.
really big on bondage.
Again with the bondage.
But so I would go to the rental shop, and I would always see fucking Eddie Murphy in a red leather suit. I'd be like, what the hell is that? And I knew who Eddie Murphy was because I would watch just like the Nutty Professor at the time and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I would one Friday I was like, what is this? And he knew what it was.
Of course.
Oh my god.
He knew what Delirious was. He's like, okay. I was 7 years old.
That's a bit young.
Blew you away.
My dad put this thing in. I have no idea what Eddie Murphy's talking about. I was laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
Just that it was more like the impressions he was doing, the James Brown shit. Like for me, Delirious I can recite from start to finish. I know it by heart.
What a seminal. I can't tell you how many people have told me,
Yeah.
for better or for worse, that it changed their life seeing that. Could you
100%.
imagine?
For me, it was that moment where like that 78-minute special. I'm like, every time I watch it, every time I watch it, I still laugh. You know, and for me, I prefer Delirious
It's
over
almost
Raw, but Raw's still good. But Delirious is like, fuck. Like, there was nothing like that. And for me, also, a big...
Yeah, because then he was at the apex.
Yeah,
It's
and then he stopped.
It's
Yeah.
also the shock value of it.
Yeah. He
Because,
was
like-
saying, like, a lot of the shit that he says in that special, you can never say...
No.
But you know what? Just to pick up on that, we were talking about watching Seinfeld. That is now on Netflix.
Yeah.
Even some of the shows that they do there, stuff you could never say.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
Stuff, but yeah, sorry. So yeah, you can never say some of the stuff.
Some of
Yeah.
that stuff. And then for me, the other influence that I had is, honestly, is Giovanni. Because growing up, like, you know, Italian and whatever, and then Giovanni comes in and he does all this fucking shit that I relate
That
to.
you identify with.
And I'm like, that's cool. So
And
like,
you hear his accent and you're like, that's different.
for me it was like Eddie Murphy, Giovanni, Robin Williams, and like I have to throw in like Rodney Dangerfield in there because my dad would always play that, and I would always think that was hilarious. And then as I got older, it stemmed from when Dangerfield would host his shows, would have like Sam Kinison on him and shit like that. Then you're like, okay, this is a whole different bag. If you know
Another dead comic.
another dead comic,
Comedy is.
but in a car accident. So,
Wow.
if you know Sam Kinison, he used to be a preacher.
He was a very short, very husky,
Yeah,
bald, like incredibly bad looking, angry about it.
screaming,
Screams all the time.
Like, but it's just
Oh, yes.
You know, interesting.
like that was like 80s comedy. Comedy in the 80s was wild.
Did they have a hat on?
Yeah.
Yes, and a long wrinkle.
Yes, yes.
Long wrinkle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he died like 30 something in like a car accident. Like it was like wild. But yeah, so that was a lot of the things that I just grew. I don't know how we ended up talking about me.
You know what I'm thinking of, like how they became a comedian, and it like I scratched my head over it because I can't take the voice. Like I want you to listen to. Remember Godfrey?
I love him.
Oh
I love him
come
too.
on.
Yeah, but the voice.
Come on, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. It's
That's
a
the
trademark.
He doesn't
It's
talk
like
like that.
you guys know
He doesn't speak like that.
Bobcat Goldthwait?
Yeah,
Same
Bobcat,
thing.
yeah.
It's all voice.
Yeah.
It's all like.
He
persona.
doesn't speak like that, Bobcat, and
No.
Gilbert doesn't really speak that way. Like, there's a documentary about him. It's called Godfrey or something, and like he's
But you know,
kind of a weird person.
We're getting, yeah, but we're all weird.
Yeah.
We're getting to branding, right? There's
Yeah.
the voice or the laugh. Or
Imagine he was hired by Disney to play Iago, the fucking parrot. You know, Jafar is like
Yeah.
a cop.
That was him. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Oh, you okay there?
This vodka is kicking my ass.
Oh, nice. It's a straight vodka.
That's well, it goes
Yeah.
straight to your brain.
Who makes this vodka?
It's my friend Carlos
Canada.
Sabella, Canada Imports. He distills this in Saint Eustache.
No way.
Yes, this in Mask Gym. It's our
It's
sponsor.
phenomenal.
It's literally
Look at that.
great
You can
tasting vodka. Yeah,
I
It's super smooth.
straight vodka.
yeah. Drink it straight
Or not.
or not.
Makes a fantastic enema.
Again,
Wow, you all finished and I'm still here.
poor guys. The guy's like, I put on a nice polo for this.
Do you ever, before we let you go, like, do you ever?
Put a check in the segue. The call that. That was fucking phenomenal.
Because you're so vocal about like the Quebec and the fucking language laws and all that shit, do you ever think of maybe just saying fuck it?
I'm not just vocal about that. I think is
Well, it's one of the things that you're passionate
the
about.
problem. The problem is that I have this very like I want the world to be better and it's not, so it makes me angry. You know, when I see like guys your age that can't afford a house because you know salaries have gone up at like 1/10 the same amount as the cost of everything else has gone up, and then people say, you know what, we'll wait your turn, or people say like, well, you know, when I went to university, it cost $200 and a house cost 17,000. How do you compare that?
It's also like great that they're printing money. They're printing like they're preparing pizzas for a wedding. They're printing cash every day. Those machines. They just say,
Yeah, we're not seeing it.
No.
But yeah, so yeah, I the thing that frustrates me about the language thing is that I wish that we weren't demonized, right? Because people say that, you know, I think many of us are here by choice. Like I'm old enough, and like when I don't have an agent anymore, but when I had an agent, I was an agent in Toronto, he would tell me all the time, move to Toronto. And I'm like, no, I want to be here. And he's like, Franco, move to Toronto. There's so much more work that I could get for you. And I was doing okay here. Maybe I could have done better there, but I love this place, and I just find that we live in a place where there's so many real problems that when a salesperson in downtown Montreal, where there might be tourists, where there are English people, says bonjour, hi, the National Assembly, our governing governing body, has to pass a unanimous resolution condemning that. Like how sick a place and how paranoid people are nos co-citoyens that any English sound makes them panic, like they're gonna lose their culture.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me, and I know it's not a battle we're gonna win. And have I thought about leaving? Yeah, every other day.
Yeah.
every other day. But then like I go to a wonderful restaurant in the city, or I meet a friend that I adore, or I see a beautiful, stylish woman walking by, but I'm happily married, but I can look. Or I walk downtown at 2 a.m. and it's safe, and I'm like, I love this place. I wish other people would celebrate it for what it is and not attack it for what they want it to be. You know, that's it. And
I have a love-hate also. Like, I love it so much. You know what? I really love this city in the summer.
yeah.
Like, you know.
Oh, I don't like it that much in the
Because
summer.
you don't like heat.
No, it's not the heat, it's the construction.
No, oh my God.
Yeah, that's for another.
You know, we said let's not be topical, but it's gonna be like that for the next 15 years.
yeah.
So you can say, they could be watching this in 2032. They're like, have the fucking construction.
Have you ever gone
You're not still in the construction.
Have you ever gone to the airport and not seen an orange cone?
Yeah, no, anywhere. Guys.
Anywhere.
But that airport, I don't know what.
It always looks different every time I go. But it hasn't been in 2 years now, but you know, like,
Well, they probably
What about that
still
Dorval thing, the exit? They like 3 years to fix it. They're like, oh, we fucked it up. They opened it for a week, and then like another 3.5 years to fix it again, to refix it. It's ridiculous. You know what? The love-hate, I do this bit about it. I say that Montreal is like an abusive relationship, okay? Because every winter, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's minus 37. there's 30 centimeters of snow, and my boss says you better not be more than 10 minutes late, right? The rest of the world would shut down. 5 months of winter, the language situation, the taxes. Then summer comes, right? Joie de vivre, the terraces. It's like till 9:30. Festivals, and you're like, I love this place. I mean, I would like go down on this place. I can't tell. I'm getting emotional. I would go down on this place. It's right? And then fall comes, winter comes, and you're like, it slaps you in the face with the cold. And you're like, why the fuck did I stay? Why did I stay? Right? Every year.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like the asshole that beats you. He's like, baby, I'll never do it again. I'm gonna buy you flowers, and then you know he's gonna do it again. This place, and we keep staying. We keep getting shaft.
Right. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, now that I'm joking, he's like, cut the camera. We don't want to see his death on TV.
We don't want to talk about him as like, oh, that comic that was here once. Cooking with Snobs would like to thank our generous sponsors, Guerrera de Shine Assurance, for your home and auto needs. Contact Michael Guerrera at 579-377-8777. We'd also like to thank Robert and Natalia at Charcuterie Noël in Montreal North for the freshest food on the island. And of course, thanks to Canada Wine and Spirits for keeping us hydrated with Mask Gin, Straight Vodka, the Barmaster Gin, and Posé. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell everyone you know about Cooking with Snobs. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube. Cooking with Snobs is a Snob Media and Gucci production.